You ready to roll?
Let's go.
Ellidy Pullin, so nice to have you here.
Thank you so much. Can I call you Brad?
You're allowed to call me Brad. Everyone calls me Brad.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
Bradley's rare these
Bradley's
days.
too long for me.
It's pretty formal. That's my real estate name.
Is
Yeah.
it?
You know.
I'm tripping. You just told me you're a real estate agent.
Yeah, that's my
Like-
my Monday to Friday, my bread and butter. Well, it's Monday to Saturday, I should say.
Yeah, but your podcast is killing it.
Trying.
You are, yeah. I mean, I've seen you a fair bit like around lately. Like, just like, I mean, this is the first time we're meeting, but I've seen, you know, you on socials a bit, and we've been talking randomly here and there for like a year or even more, trying to like set this up because I'm hopeless. Sorry, and you just seem like, I just thought, I'm just so shocked that you have a real estate agent job Monday to Friday.
Yeah, that's the bread and butter. So, but you know, maybe after a big episode with you, maybe it's podcasting full time, because I feel like you are literally every person I say that I've got Ellidy Pullin coming on the show.
Get out.
And you know, for the listeners, the viewers,
No, they don't.
I'm up here in your neck of the woods, Burleigh.
Are you actually joking? That's like kind of crazy. That blows my mind.
I'm not kidding. Everybody in our life, particularly females, who, and I say we, like Soph's in the studio today behind the cameras, and like everyone we've said Ellidy Pullin's coming on, everyone's like, oh my God, can't wait.
What? Do you have a lot of female listeners? Like,
Pretty
what's your
even,
audience?
pretty split down the middle, like 50-50.
No, where are you? You're from Wollongong, so maybe it's I don't know, because that's kind of crazy.
I think you're just
seems
very
pretty-
humble, and I think that you're more popular than you realise.
Oh, thanks,
That's
Brad.
all right.
I'm not sure what for, to be honest. Fucking, that seems pretty wild.
Well, what for? I think that you're a brilliant storyteller. I think you got a great personality, and not only that, but your story is very inspiring. And it's what caught my attention is, you know, how much of a whirlwind the last couple of years have probably been for you. I feel like, you know, the loss of your beloved partner Chumpy, the birth of your beautiful, crazy, chaotic daughter Minnie, who I'm jealous we didn't get to meet today. But I feel like it's been a crazy few years for you. So, like, how are you feeling now?
Yeah, I'm in a pretty good place at the moment. Like, I mean, yeah, it's been nearly 5 years on from Chump, and like, I still have my days where I'm really just like pining for him and going, where is he? Like, and what happened? Is that real? And like, life is crazy, but life is also just so busy, which I am grateful for and thankful that I can stay so busy. I've got amazing people around me, and like, distractions are everywhere if I want them to, you know, just kind of like keep moving forward. That's because that's what you have to do with grief. And when shit happens or you're going through trauma, you're just like, it's one foot in front of the other. And when you're busy, it's easy to just kind of like get through and get on with it, you know?
Before you lost Chumpy, had you really experienced any grief before?
I had not. I had barely lost, like, you know, I'd lost my nan and my pop, and of like full on like Alzheimer's, dementia, old age kind of vibes, and which is of course so sad, but not sudden. And I'd never really like lost anyone close to me that was young, or like, yeah, it was like something you just never ever imagined to happen. For me, I don't know, like maybe I've had a bit of a sheltered upbringing, or like just like so lucky that no one around me had passed away at a young age, really. And like, when that happened that day to Chump, it was just such a, like, I still honestly question, like, is he just still living overseas somewhere snowboarding, and like he just didn't want to come back? Like, I'm just so confused sometimes. I'm like, how did that happen?
You know, it's interesting what you alluded to, because I've been thinking about this quite a lot, that, you know, old age in particular, is something that prepares us somewhat for the end of life.
Yeah.
You know, and I've lost my nan, and my nan's passing was like relatively sudden. She'd had breast cancer, but it really sort of come to the pointy end in the space of a month, and it was like,
Yeah.
okay, we're losing nan here. And it's so, as you said, so sad, and you still have the grief because you're losing someone you love, especially, you know, to see my mum, who now doesn't have either of her parents. I can really see how she experiences it differently to myself and my sister. But there is something there's almost like an anticipatory grief, where as you approach it, you start to come to terms with it.
And especially if they're ill, like I've had a similar thing lately where I've lost someone through illness, and like we knew it was coming, and although it's still the biggest shock when it happens, because you're like, whoa, it's finally happened, they've finally let go and they've finally gone, you of course like are so rattled and sad and it's so griefy, but part of you is like, oh, they're out of pain and you know they're not sick anymore, and I'm not thinking of them as that sick person, and I don't know, there's something that you feel like it, because I lost my dad through cancer too, and you just feel this sense of relief when they finally let go and you know they're not in pain anymore, which sounds awful because you never want that to happen. Like,
have you heard of Andrew Garfield, the actor?
No.
You know Hacksaw Ridge? I think he's like the second Spider-Man.
Yes.
Incredible actor. Like,
yes.
Wonderful guy. He, in the last couple of years, been talking about grief a lot because he lost his mum. And it was cancer and relatively sudden. And he had these beautiful words with Anderson Cooper, the journalist from the US.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about grief, and he was just like, it was a very challenging initial period where I felt like I was a mess. And he talked about going to the ocean one day and going out in the ocean, just like being called to go out and be in nature. And he said, I was sitting out in the ocean and I had kind of this realization wash over me that sons have been losing their mothers for centuries. And there's something somewhat normal about that, because had my mother have lost me, it would feel so unnatural.
Oh, so unnatural.
Right? And he's like, and so whilst it's still challenging, you can somewhat come to terms with the fact that this is the order of life.
Yeah.
And he spoke about grief, I think, with some beautiful words, and I'm not sure how this resonates with you, but he said grief is all of the love that we can't express to them.
Yeah. All of the love that you have for that person, all of the love but nowhere to go because they're not here anymore. So you don't have anyone to like put that love on, that so much love for that person, and they're just not here, and it just builds up and it's just this big fat hole in your heart. But yeah, that's so true about the order of life thing. Like I remember like Chump's parents, and just like it's just so unnatural for you to lose your child. And now as a mum myself, I just think like if anything happened, like it's something unfathomable.
It actually had me welling up a little bit when I was in the gym listening to your book and hearing Chump's dad talk about his son and how special he was. And it was actually quite confronting in the sense that I feel like I really resonated with his character. There are a lot of things that his dad said that I feel like my parents would say about me.
Yeah, you have a bit of
likeness.
Chump. You have Chump energy. You seem super balanced, super stable and chill, and just super well spoken. Like you've got such Chumpy essence about you.
I appreciate that, because that's a major compliment. And I feel, I was listening to it, and his relationship with his little sister. I've got a little sister I adore. We actually all live together, and so we've got such a close-knit relationship.
You guys all live together?
Yeah.
Like the whole family, or as in you just...
So like myself, Soph, my sister, Shania, and her partner, Cal.
I love that. The four of you, like a little awesome foursome.
Yeah, the four of us and our little dogs. So
they have a dog too?
Yeah, they do. Little Archie.
That's
Jack
so
Russell.
cute.
And it's a beautiful energy, like when you have that much love in a family. And I was listening to it thinking that, of course, there is never I think people say that there's like a positive side to any sort of negative experience in life. And I'm not sure that I fully subscribe to that. I think that we, like through loss and grief and all of these challenging times, like it sucks and it hurts, and it's certainly not what you would have wanted or what you would have expected. And I'm sure if you could, you would change it.
Yeah.
Right. But there is so much that my heart felt full knowing that the kind of person he was, I feel like he really lived his life in the time that he had.
100%. He was like, I feel like and so many people said this, like, yes, he was 32 when he passed away, but it was like, I reckon he'd lived 90 years of life, which, I mean, doesn't make the loss any, like, less great. It makes it, like, he did so much, and he had such huge impact on so many people. And, like, literally, I'd say, like, pretty much everyone he met was just, like, met with a bit of a, like a, you know, when they left his presence, they were like, whoa, like that was Chumpy, like Chumpy. He just had this way with people, make people feel very special, very like welcomed, and just like you wanted to chat to him. And so many people relayed this to me after he passed. And like, of course I felt that because I was with him and it was the best thing ever. And he was just the most amazing partner, like I think one could hope for. But people that also like experienced just being around Chump would have like similar things to say. And I'm like, fuck, he just had that way about him that you just kind of were drawn to him and drawn to his energy. But just like with his accomplishments as well, and like how worldly he was and traveled like, you know, the world with his snowboarding career, and how, yeah, everything he'd accomplished, like a lot of people would not do in 90 years of their life. So like, yeah, that doesn't make it easier, but it makes me just so proud of him, and just like what a way for us to always look back and remember Chump, and like I can show Minnie all of that, you know.
I wanted to ask you today, like for those who are listening, I've been conscious to not ask you the same story that you've probably been asked a million times before, because your book does a beautiful job of telling it. You've done a beautiful job of sharing it on so many different shows. So I feel like today there's probably some stuff that I'm going to brush over, because I maybe want to ask you some different questions so
yes,
you
please.
can explore another side
Love
of it.
your work.
But, you know, in listening to the book and hearing about what is an absolute miracle in the sperm retrieval to bring your little girl Minnie to life.
Yeah.
You know, you have this beautiful bundle of joy that is half you, half Chumpy. What do you tell Minnie about Dad?
Yeah, it's funny. She's so much like him. Like she's got his little eyes, and just like her pointy face and features are so him. We watch a lot of videos of him, like mainly like him like singing with his guitar, doing his thing. He was super musical, and she loves music. She loves all music. Chump like was obviously super acoustic, and like his music was pretty chill, and he was amazing and had the most amazing voice. And Minnie loves that, but then she also loves like techno and like R&B and like rave music and like gangster and like just everything. So I love how much she loves music. And then if like a Neil Young or something, like what came on the other day, I can't remember, but like something super chilled that he would sing, like a song that he would used to kind of sing or do a cover of or something. But Minnie would go, this is Dad. And it wasn't Dad, but it was just like Dad's kind of music.
Yeah.
So cute. So she loves watching him. And yeah, of course, we just talk about him like all the time in everyday life. Like it's not like, all right, we better sit down and have a bit of a chumpy chat now, and let's talk about your dad right now. Let's think about him. We don't do that. We just kind of like it's just like weaved through our daily chats and life and like everything. Yeah.
Do you feel like you've changed the way that you live life after losing Chump?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know who that girl was that was like, I was like, what, 28? No, I was 27 or 28 when Chump died. And like I'm not more mature at all. Like if anything, I'm just like as crazy as ever. But I'm just a different person. Like the way that I look at the world and like my relationships with people, the way that I like acknowledge things or like empathize with things, or just like read rooms or pick up energy, just like. And I'm not in a woo-woo way. Like I reckon I did get a bit spiritual after he passed away, because like you're kind of grabbing onto anything that makes you feel like held or warm or whatever. Like you do go through that when you lose someone. But I would just like be just so there for people, or like really feel if someone was emotional or needed a hug or just anything going on, I can feel I can really pick up on that. Whereas before I wouldn't really be thinking too deep about much. Yeah. I'm such a different thinker now.
Well, it's interesting because you said in the book or a podcast, I can't remember exactly where, but your almost default setting back then was happiness.
Yeah.
Like, does that change? Is there like an extra layer to emotion and feeling that you have now?
Now I'm kind of like, I think my default setting is still happiness, but like, now it's funny, I would never put on happiness before, but now I'm like, fuck, I've really got to put on a brave face today. Like I've got this on and that on and like I just can't be Devo today. I can't be sad today. Like, you know, like for example, right now, like if I get sad talking to you, that's sweet because this is real talk and this is great. But like sometimes if you've got to like, you know, hold yourself like together at an event or like something where you're not like getting real and deep or like just like you kind of have to get through this day. I'm like, fuck, I'm putting on this fake happy right now. Like I'm just pushing through today.
Does that come with motherhood too?
Yeah. And like I also think being a mum, I'm a completely different person again. So I would have like whether Chump was here or not, I'm sure like every friend I speak to who's a mum, it's like, fuck, you do lose your identity a little bit through that as well. So there's a whole other layer. Like I lost myself through grief and then I kind of became the same person, but I feel different. And then, yeah, through motherhood too, like you just bloody lose so much sleep and you're just disheveled and you're just like in the best way possible. But you form a full new purpose and reason for living and like just everything's different. Like, yeah, it's just like something you can't explain.
So Minnie's 3.5 now. What do you feel like you've learned about yourself through the process of being a mum?
Well, I used to be just the most impatient person in the world and just I still just absolutely don't put up with any shit at all. And being a mum, I mean, that's a hard thing to do because like they're bloody having tantrums and I'm just like, wrap this up right now. I don't have time for that. Like I'm a bit like, I don't really have too much patience for that. But like in terms of like, you know, you're trying to have a conversation with a 2-year-old and they're just like learning to, you know, like I've gotten so much more, you know, all right, slow down, Elle. She's not going to keep up with me. She's not walking as fast as me. She's going to take ages to like, and I make her pretty independent. So I'm like, no, you can put on your, like you're putting on your clothes today or you like, so like everything takes a lot longer because of it. And it has to make me a lot more patient, for example. But yeah, just what else have I learned about me? Wow. I thought I always knew I'd be pretty like yeah, I guess maternal. Like always wanted a baby. Like always wanted heaps of kids actually. But now now that I've had I thought we'd have like 3 and I've had 1 and I'm kind of like, "Whoa, I could be one and done." But maybe that's cuz I'm on my own.
Well, like, it is a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a lot. So maybe if I wasn't on my own or Chump was here, I'd be like, it just be like, you know, normal life. And you'd be like, cool, let's pump out another few. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that's easy. Like any mom's listening, I know that's freaking hard and huge and scary.
One thing that's interesting, I think, to pull on here is, you know, whilst you say it's, you know, you're alone and it's you and Minnie, I feel like you have, from the outside at least, such a big family of people who are around you. Like it's been really beautiful to see the relationship you have with your brother.
Yeah,
your brother just seems like a great human being who, you know, looks like he absolutely loves the role that he plays as an uncle.
He's so cute.
But it also feels like, is he a big brother?
Yeah, he's 2 years older.
Yeah, you can tell that. You can kind of feel that energy.
He's so protective.
Like his protective nature of you, the way he stepped in.
He is so protective of me. Like if he hears that I'm even hanging out with a guy or like anything's happening, he's like freaking out. Like he's so protective and yeah, like of Minnie as well, like just the whole thing and like anyone else that we give time to or let into our zone, he's like fucking Constable Vlug, like my brother. It's hilarious. He's so great. He's so great for me. Like it's so nice to have that, yeah, like support and also just someone like guarding us. He's doing what Chump probably, you know, would have been like as a dad, but as a figure in my, like someone that looks after you, you know.
I don't know if you've ever asked him this. I'm sure you've had some kind of conversation, but I guess you alluded to it before. You lost your dad 2 years after Chump, which, you know, was news to me today when we were chatting before this. And I almost think as a big brother myself, I think about the role that you play. We're so lucky that my dad's in our life and we've got our mum and our family is so beautiful and so caring and so in touch. But I can almost imagine from your brother's shoes, you know, he feels maybe like he plays a role for you now to be an even closer big brother because you don't have your dad in your life,
Yes.
but also kind of like that uncle step-in dad for Minnie.
Yeah. I think like I lost Chumpy and I lost Dad in a pretty close amount of time, and they were like I lost all the men in my life apart from my brother. So he was just like, fuck, I've got to step up and be this like rock and this man for Elle kind of thing. And I think the pressure weighed on him a lot. And it wasn't anything that I thought about at all. Like, no way. But I know that he feels that like responsibility and pressure. And I don't want him to feel that. I'm like, oh, bro, take it off. Like, take a load off. Like, he feels the weight of our loss and grief so heavily. Like, even a lot, I don't want to say a lot more heavier than I do, but he shows it and doesn't have the outlets that I have. Like, I get to talk to people about it, and I have a podcast where I can like get on and fucking cry and be like, oi, grief sucks. I'm Devo today. I'm crying, and like normalizing grief as such. Whereas he's like, you know, a typical, I don't know. He's like a male, a few years older than me, who's just like, you know, what's therapy? I'm not doing that. And like, you know, just like, you know, just that guy that's just like, all right, I've got to, you know, I'm the man of everything now, and I've got to step up and like show not much emotion, not let too much out, and like, you know, but I see him suffer, and it's so hard for me to watch. I like really, yeah, and it takes a fucking toll on him that like I don't think a lot of people, actually, yeah, his close friends can see it, but yeah, it's definitely hard for him. It's hard for people that don't like, yeah, have an outlet or want to have an outlet or aren't open to having an outlet. Like, you know, I have to drag him to like a kinesiologist or something to get him like talking or something to shake up inside him, or like, and he enjoys it when I drag him there. But then like, you know, the next time I'm like, come on, I'll book you back in. He'll like, fuck that, I'm not doing that shit, like kind of thing.
I feel like I can imagine it'd be challenging, but you can tell there's a lot of purpose.
Yeah.
To do it. And he probably feels, I think anybody who feels like they can care for their family and be that person, like there is something really rewarding to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. He honestly is freaking amazing. And I think he feels, yeah, I think everything just weighs so heavily on him, and I don't want that. Yeah, but it's so funny how everyone else thinks that. It's because I get that a lot. Like a lot of people say that about him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope he's not listening. I don't want him to feel even more pressure like that he already has on him. You know what I mean?
For sure.
He doesn't listen anyway. So
I think it's more of a it's more you notice it because you admire it.
Yes.
You know, not because you feel like he's done what he had to, but it's like,
yeah,
mate, that's it's really admirable. I want to touch on something you spoke about, how for you've got the outlets of being able to chat about this. It's actually just literally popped to the front of my mind. Probably the first introduction and connection to you via email was you, me and Lottie.
Lottie, yeah.
And so obviously Lottie is a friend of yours, Lottie Bowser, who's been on the show 2 or 3 years ago now, and has quite an insane story around grief and the loss of her hubby very early in their lives at a similar age to yourself. What's it like to have people? Is it challenging sometimes because as your community of people who have experienced what you have grows, sometimes maybe feels like you can't escape it, but it's also important to talk about it?
It's a really tough one, and I feel it makes me feel quite guilty now. So because at the start, Chump died in July. Lottie's beautiful partner, Ben, passed away a few months later. And at the time, I was like, nobody in the world was, you know, it felt like nobody in the world was going through what I'd gone through, because you're not instantly, like none of my friends, like no one around me can fathom or understand, like, you know, none of my friends had lost their partners, like that kind of thing. So I was just like, holy shit, like the craziest thing's happening. I'm in the middle of this vortex. Like I'm kind of feeling numb. I feel nothing. I feel weird. This is like this crazy feeling. And then all of a sudden, my best friend Fisher's manager, Brett, actually was like, I've heard of this guy, Ben, in London. He passed away, and he kind of like, well, it's actually kind of weird. Him and Chump look so similar. Like they look similar. And then Lottie and I look similar. Not that means anything, but I mean, we're all the same age as well, is what I meant to say, kind of thing. And he was like, can you like talk to Lottie. Like she could really use someone to talk to right now. And I'm like, bro, I could really use someone to talk to as well. Like, what the hell? What do you mean her partner's died? Are you like, you're kidding? Like, this is not everyday shit that you hear. Now that I'm years on, it is everyday shit that I hear, and it sucks. And I wish I had time to give like every widow or, every woman or man that reaches out and goes, my partner's just passed away. Like, oh my God, like it kills me. And I feel so guilty that I can't form like all these relationships with all those people. But Lottie, we both needed each other so bad at the time. We just wrote each other all these essays late at night, and we just both weren't sleeping. We were both writing heaps and just like chatting to each other, and the similarities and what we were feeling were just like amazing and unmatched. And it was just like, whoa, I finally feel so heard and so seen. And then, like, of course, we started FaceTiming, and then we would meet up around the world here and there. We've met like twice now. And it's like, yeah, she was just like amazing. And I've done that with a few like, I don't use the word widow anymore, but like I just think of it because I think of like back in those days we would like say we were widows. I've done that with a few of us now. Like there's been a few that are like similar age, and like you really felt the same essence of our relationship and their relationship, and the loss was like, not that you can ever compare because she's lost Benny and I've lost Chump. They're completely different people. And, so I never like to compare grief, but like we were going through the similar emotions, and like it was just like so nice having people to talk to early on in grief. And I don't connect with people the same way that I used to now. It's been nearly 5 years, and like it as you said, it does bring me down. Like I want to give them like the hope and the support, but like to do that to everyone that say reaches out is like kind of takes a bit of a toll. That sounds so bad.
No, but it's true because I think you have to remember that you've done so much from a public point of view to share your story, that, your podcast, your book, so much that you've done is a resource for people to lean on.
Yeah.
And like you go into so much detail, and you share in your book, it's a very personal story. So it feels like you're having a conversation with you about it.
Yes.
And I think that you have to protect yourself because it is your duty to pick yourself up and move back through the world because you got a little one.
Yeah.
And when you're giving your energy out to everyone all the time, you can't do that.
I reckon if I didn't have a little one, I'd probably have a bit more energy to do a lot more connecting with like other people going through grief and loss, for sure. And I'd probably do a lot more down that route. But yeah, as you said, like I think, and I do forget how much I give out on the podcast and in the book, because I kind of just like, when you kind of have a convo and it is so meaningful and super powerful in the moment, like this, I'm loving this. And then like I will even kind of forget how much I've like shared, or I don't ever think I'm such an open book, and like there's nothing like, yeah, and if it helps people, I'm so happy. But yeah, I kind of forget how much I share, or like how much in the book, like it does get quite personal. And so it is so weird when people are like, oh my God, I know this and that about you, and I'm like, holy fuck, like I forget like where did I tell that one? Like,
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. You would get that as well.
A little bit, yeah, but I feel maybe because, this is very much, the pod's very much a grower, not a shower at the moment. So it's, I feel like the audience isn't so big that it's, I can imagine you go out somewhere and you have people come up to you like that, very few and far in between. That happens to me. So it feels like maybe when you exist in your own little echo chamber of audience online, you get a little bit more interaction, but I think when you're talking about very personal stuff, as you have for so long, to have to confront that face to face with somebody is very different to having a conversation over message.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting because just as we're talking about this, I'm talking about how when you actually do experience something like you have, you realize that it's not just you, and there are so many people who have been through a similar terrible experience. We have this almost this naivety that we move through life as young people, and we hear those stories and we go, well, that doesn't happen to me and my family.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I remember watching my story on the news and just like, I was like banging my head going, that is not me. That's not a picture of me. That's not a picture of Chump. What is going on? Usually I'm watching the news and I'm like cooking and I'm glancing over and I'm seeing something fucking awful on the news and going, oh my God, that poor family. Like, I could not imagine. Like, just, I'm praying for them. I don't pray, but like I'm thinking about them. You know what I mean? And then when it's your story, it's just like, it's just the last thing you ever think is going to happen to you.
Can I ask you a sensitive question? Has it made you think about your own mortality?
It's made me like not afraid of death because I don't know. It's made me just realize like I just want to take life by the horns and like life is short. It can be really short. And I'm not just like so not afraid of anything anymore. Like I am like, yeah, I'm so much more open to everything now. Like I don't want to die at all. Like there was definitely times in the start where I was like, fuck, like life's just black. Like just what like is the point without him right now kind of thing. And I wouldn't be afraid of like, I wouldn't be like, I was never like suicidal or anything, but like the thought of death wouldn't scare me because I'd just be like, oh, maybe I'll just be with him kind of thing. And now I couldn't think like that's just so far from like, I want to live a long, happy life. Like, but I'm still not afraid of anything.
Yeah, I get you. I feel like maybe you see that the stakes on a whole lot of the things that used to worry you before are actually quite low.
Yes, I give less fucks about stupid things. Like just the little trivial things in life, like I just don't really have time for. Like, yeah, and like I've seen it even in my friendship group, like where like they've all kind of seen this happen and like other things happen, but this has been like paramount, of course. And the way that like I've responded and the way that like our lives have unfolded, like I see my friends just kind of they've changed too. They're like, that's not even a problem. That little thing's not even a problem. And I'm like, yes, we're all fucking, and it's made us all so close and like kind of just treat life in this certain like, yeah, just like zero fucks given way.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, I don't know. Zero fucks given, but also like we live with more purpose and meaning now. I don't know how to no. That didn't make any sense.
No, but I do
know.
I do know what you mean, right? There's a freedom that comes with detaching yourself from life being so serious all the time.
Yeah.
Because you don't hold yourself in such high regard. You realize that you're a very small piece of the puzzle. I had a very interesting experience a couple of years ago, and it was weird how much this moved me because I wasn't super tight with this person who passed, but there was a work colleague of mine who was a lovely woman. Like I'd worked on and off in this business over the space of 5 years, and nearly every day that I worked at this business, we'd meet around 10 o'clock in the kitchen, same sort of cup of tea time, and she'd grab a bicky and a cup of tea, and I'd make myself a coffee, and we'd have a little 5-minute chat. Like, lovely woman.
Yeah.
And, you start to get to know someone, and it's like she had 2 beautiful kids who were in their early 20s that she adored, and she was a single mom, and she had so many people in her life who really cared about her. And then after I'd left this business, I'd heard that she'd gotten ill. I believe, I hope I don't get this wrong, but I believe it was breast cancer or cancer of some sort anyways. And, I think it was after like 6 months she had passed. And I went to her funeral, and it was quite a busy funeral because we worked at a big company. And I remember standing at the back of the room and watching the close of a ceremony, and it was just like my senses heightened where I could hear her daughters crying. I could see how distraught her parents were, and kind of somber music playing in the background. I remember just watching the curtains close on her coffin, and I remember thinking, fuck, how final.
Yeah, how final, and how like that's just a life, and it kind of just like flashes before your eyes in a way. And then I bet you're thinking back to like, wow, those little chats that we had and like things just like that she would have said, and you just cherish those little moments.
Well, you know what it made me think about? It made me think about how we have these moments of realization in life where I'm sure there were plenty of people who heard about your story who went, far out, this is so precious.
Yeah.
And then we go back to being in our busy lives where there's so much
know.
happening, and we kind of lose a grasp with how precious and finite it is.
Yeah.
And like, I wonder, for you being so close to it, do you sometimes forget about that? Do you sometimes slip into the busyness of life and have to remind yourself that?
Yes. Well, that's the saddest part about when someone, like, you know, when we lost Chump, you see that life, like the clock keeps ticking and people get back to their lives, their work, their busy schedule, like quite quickly. Like, I mean, my family and friends and stuff, they were an insanely amazing village, and they just fucking were there for me for ages and ever. But like, of course they do then have to, like, they do have commitments, meetings, appointments, work, blah, 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 blah. And I remember, like, even if I would go to a cafe or go out and venture out, I'm like, I just don't understand how that person thinks they're allowed to drive right now, or why that person's going to work and Chumpy's not going to work and he's not here and he's not breathing, and how the fuck is life going forward without him? Like, it's just so, it just killed me that like things could just carry on.
Yeah.
When like I just felt like time should stay still, and like my life felt like it was at a standstill, and like it just felt so rude that we could just keep going. And yeah, now I find myself just getting so bloody busy and stressed and caught up and running around a million miles, and like life is so crazy sometimes that I don't have a second to go, fuck, like holy shit, like just sit there and just be like really, I don't know, just think about just everything for a moment, like what's happened and where I am, and like just be present kind of thing, and like, or just kind of think about nothing, if that makes sense. I've never been able to do that. I've never been able to meditate or like just like be clear in my mind. I actually love it when I'd have like a flight to Sydney or like Melbourne. Like tomorrow I'm going to Sydney and I'm so excited to get on the plane. No phone, no Wi-Fi, and I just get to sit there and I'm not flying with my daughter, so I'm like, woo, I'm alone. If the person and that sounds so mean, because life's always all about those small moments and those small interactions. So this is so contradictory, but if like the person next to me, like, you know, wants to get all yarny and chatty, I'll be like, oh no, you just don't understand how much I'm so excited for this hour alone to like not talk. But then sometimes we'll get chatting with like someone epic next to me, and then like they will have like something that just, it feeds into the whole like, wow, I'm so glad I met that person. They had such a cute, humble story and was so beautiful, and like they made me feel a certain way, or blah, blah. Like, so like, yeah, life throws those little things at you, but sometimes I just love it when I can just be like so still and just kind of reflect and think about like, the last few years and what's happened. And because I often like get too chaotic and don't. But then I see people that do, and they don't have much going on, and they're so stuck in their grief. And I feel so sorry for those people.
Well, I think you're so young still too, right? So
Yeah.
you've still got, like you said, hopefully such a long, happy life ahead of you. And so you need to, as hard as it is, like you don't want to waste that.
No.
Because you know that he wouldn't want you to.
No. God, no. He would want me not wasting a second. He would want me just charging.
Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat.
You're right. So do I actually. Hey, what's going on in this room?
Far out. Feathers or something falling from the ceiling, tickling my throat. I want to ask you, just in like a pivot, your life seems so full on all the time. Like it feels like you're always doing something fun and something entertaining. And I'm sure that that's probably not the reality of your life, but that is, I guess, social media and the trap that we fall into is, you know, we often share and highlight the best or, you know, funnest moments of our life. But what is your life actually like?
Yeah, I feel like I am always doing like like I've got pretty fun friends, and I feel like we are always just like having a good time, and there's lots of fun things to do and events on, and you know, stuff going on. But I do also try and keep it pretty real online. Like I do try and get on the stories and be like, holy shit, I'm bloody, you know, over this day, or, you know, this has happened, and try and like keep it pretty like realistic. But yeah,
do you feel an obligation to do that though?
Like I just hate it when I see someone so polished, and I don't find it believable. I don't find it interesting to watch. I want to see like real talk, and that's why I try and keep it real. Like if my house is a fucking absolute mess and Minnie's bloody being a freak in the background, I'm like, I'm not gonna not film this right now because she's, you know, chucking a tantrum in the background. I'm like, that is motherhood. That's real life. So I like to be super real, and I often get messages like, fuck, you're so relatable, and oh my God, this makes me feel good. My kid isn't the only little screaming shithead today kind of thing, you know, things like that. So I'm like, yeah, it makes me feel glad that I share that stuff. And now that I do share that stuff, I do feel a little bit of an obligation to keep keeping it real. And then when you keep keeping it real, it makes it hard to kind of stop. Like, so yeah. But I would never want to be like a polished, like, you know, everything's perfect person on socials. And like, that's just not realistic. I'm not like that on my podcast either. In nowhere am I like that.
So outside of the pod, work-wise, is social media the next big thing?
Yeah.
Is that hard? Is it challenging to feel like, you know, so much of everything you do has to kind of be public because it is work? Like work and business or life and business, I should say, kind of mold into one.
There's a few, it seems so stupid and like so like sometimes just dumb to say this stuff out loud, but there has been some times where I'm like, fuck, I kind of want to sneak off on this little trip and like keep everything real private and like go off for like 3 days or something like that. And then I'm like, oh, but I've got contracts with companies here and there, and I've got to post for them on these dates, and you know, you do have to fill the other gaps with normal life or other stuff, so you're not just like one big bloody walking ad or something, you know?
Yeah, true.
So it's not just like ad.
Yeah, I get that.
Or like, and like my ads are so like incredibly genuine. Like I genuinely use or eat or drink whatever it is that I am talking about. If I'm like contracts with brands are like something that I think so big about, and I literally think like, what would Chump think? Would he do this one? Like I'll you know, things like that. Like a Bunnings one will come through and I'm like, oh my God, well that's just, he sent that to me kind of thing. But yeah, so although it is real and I like weave it into just my normal life, like those kind of like paid partnership ones, I just feel like, yeah, it needs to be like, you need to fluff everything out with real. You need to give everyone like the real stuff too. Not that it's not real, but the like,
for sure,
the life.
the simple stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that you kind of brush over that really is such a big part of life.
The stuff that is not work.
Well, I feel like the simple stuff is 80% of life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
I think that's maybe the mistake that people make in like relationships is a big area where you hear people talk about, oh, you know, we just don't have much in common anymore. I'm like, well, no, it's because probably like the first 6 months of your relationship was you doing like extraordinary things together, which isn't real life.
It's not realistic.
Like if you can't have a coffee with your partner and like them, you're probably not going to be in a long-term relationship.
That honeymoon period will get you.
Yeah, it's
you're all like just frothing. So I'm so scared of that honeymoon period. Like as like a person who's now been like kind of alone for like 4 or 5 years now, I'm like, no one's bloody wooing me with that honeymoon period. Like I'm like sticking it out for like ages with that person to see if I get like bored after all those feelings die off in like the first 6 months, to see if I then want to hang out with that person still. So you know what I mean?
Let me ask you this. What is it like to have potentially welcome love into your life after loss?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's fun. It's like, it's annoying because everyone is like, oh, like,
Do people make
like,
it too serious?
yeah, and everyone wants to compare and judge. But I find it exciting because I'm like, I want to love again. I want to have more kids. I want I want like a bigger family. I want to bring someone into my life, like the right person eventually. But I'm like so not a rusher with that stuff, and I never was. I have friends that would have had like 10 boyfriends in the time that I've just been alone just right now in the last few years. And that's fab. I love that for them. Good on them. But I just would prefer not to have that chaos in my life. Plus, I don't have time or room for it, like, honestly. So it has to be like someone just solid that I'm serious about, and like it'll be a slow burn. So that I can, because of course I've got a little girl. I've got to really consider like bringing someone into her life as well. And
You're looking for a man and a dad.
Yeah, essentially, yes. And I wouldn't just let her like have guy in, guy out and just like kind of see that go down. No fucking way. I'm actually just not like that either. Like I wish I was so much more open to being more like that, but I'm just like, I've just never been that way inclined. So like I'm always a slow burner when it comes to like relationships and stuff. But yeah, everyone definitely gets like really. Everyone around me so hectic about it and so judgy, and I'm like just a bit more like this is fun, like let's just see what happens kind of thing, and like I'm just chill about it. But yeah, I definitely feel pressure. Actually, I feel pressure because it's nearly been 5 years and people are like, fuck, can't. Like even my mum the other day, like my brother, for example, is like, oh my gosh, she's just got to be alone forever, because he just could not fathom the thought of me not being, like he couldn't fathom someone coming in and like being that there for me and that person. Like he's just like, that's a big trip and a wig out for him to handle. But my mum, on the other hand, is like, come on, it's been, nearly 5 years. And I'm like, I'm happy just like,
Isn't that mums constantly though? Mums and
yes,
nans,
they're probably like, I want grandkids and blah blah blah, and I'm like, I'm just having fun doing what I'm doing. I like, have amazing people in my life, but I'm just not sure who, and there's yeah.
Do you have a philosophy for love?
I don't necessarily have like a strong philosophy, because what I had with like. My philosophy would be just like keep it so fun and spicy, and like it's all about like the principles and the morals kind of thing. But like if you can laugh together and have fun together, that is kind of my main thing. And like trust, of course. Like that comes down to it. But what I wanted and what I had with Chump is like the opposite of what I look for now when I'm like dating or hanging out with guys. I think I'm afraid to feel the exact same way or go for a similar kind of person. I don't know why.
Can I ask you a very personal question?
Yeah.
Have you been close to that yet and like felt maybe a little bit of fear?
Yes. Like I'm like, and I'm really vocal about it. I'm like, I'm scared. I'm finding this scary.
Vocal with them?
Yeah.
Because that's hard, isn't it? Because I guess if you feel like you're getting the same emotion that you used to experience, a little bit of resistance. Like I wonder, is that the thing that's informing you to maybe go in a different direction?
Yeah, maybe. That's a funny one. Yeah, but I think whoever hangs out with me has to be able to handle these kind of convos and get deep. And like that is a very Chumpy kind of element, because he was like that too. But they're just going to have to, because like, there's a lot of weird little hurdles, and like just with my daughter and just like loving again and like bringing someone in, they're just going to have to handle that. And like,
Can I tell you the upside of this?
Yeah.
Is you're going to find whatever man comes into your life is going to be, firstly, very selfless. Secondly, very self-assured and not insecure.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have to grapple with that.
Yeah.
The third thing is I feel like they're going to have that kind of angel energy where they can be there and they can be the person you need and know that there's going to be those hard questions and it's not a reflection of them.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of a very tough experience.
Because I never want that person to feel like they're being compared to or any of that kind of stuff. Like I never want them to feel just weird in this situation. So then when I'm like, I'm just scared, like, can we just chill and take it slow kind of thing? Like, I feel like, they just have to understand, like, it's nothing to do with them. It's just
I feel
me.
like you've got a great friend group too that can help filter that.
Yeah.
You know, like having good,
They're
but
so
it is challenging, isn't it? Because you don't want to almost. I'm a big believer that sometimes when you ask for too many opinions, like the people closest to you often offer a protective opinion.
Yeah.
Because they want to shelter you, right? Sometimes you got to trust your gut, and I feel like you've got a good gut.
Yeah, I reckon I've got a really good gut feeling about people. Like I just go with that usually. That's the scary thing as well, because like sometimes my gut's like knows that shit's good, and I'm like, oh my god, like it can't be true. But then it's funny because my friends, like you said, they'll have that protective instinct, but then they're also a bit like, fucking hell, like, come on, it's time. And they'll be like, just fucking, yes, go, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it's weird.
Well, I feel like the one, you'd experience this and you'd know this feeling that, you know, like people talk about regret a lot.
Yes.
And I feel like can I say, I do not like the notion of no regrets. I actually think it is relatively unrealistic, and hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out. You might think differently to me, but my feeling is that if you're going to live your life without any regrets, it is likely that you're going to play it small. I feel like regret is just a condition of living life.
Because you have to take risks.
You have to take risks. You have to dare greatly. It was Teddy Roosevelt that said, you know, fail while daring greatly. And I think that is a part of life.
Yeah.
And I think that regret, if anything, should just be a framework to learn from, to move forward from. I think the thing that you shouldn't do is ever be too hard on yourselves for having regret.
Yeah. Well, you'd regret like not persisting. Like I'd regret like not giving, you know, X, Y, and Z a better chance because of fear or
Correct.
like leaving that stone unturned kind of thing. But then I might regret turning it over. Like
100%.
It's the unknown that's scary.
Oh yeah.
That's what's scary, just the bloody unknown.
That's the biggest problem of being a human being.
I know.
It's like not knowing what's ahead of you, the uncertainty.
Oh, brother.
It scares most
so
people
scary.
into a freeze.
So scary.
Tommy, what are you excited for? We're talking about unknown in the future, the things you can see, the things you've almost got a hold of. What are you excited for that maybe people will be excited to hear about?
I am excited for, I've got like a new house chapter happening where I'm like knocking down a home and rebuilding and building
exciting.
like kind of a dream home in a dream place. And I feel so lucky to be able to do that for me and my little girl. And I'm excited for that kind of like that's a scary chapter because like by the time we move in, she'll probably be going to school and stuff. But I'm just excited to feel really stable in my home life and living because I feel like a bit since I sold Chumpy and my family home that we bought together, I felt just so like unsettled and not happy in my homely like little thing. And like I guess I travel a lot and go away so much that I just haven't felt grounded in ages, which is a weird thing to feel when you have a kid. Like you just want them to feel stable and grounded and you want to give that to them. So I'm really excited to have that. And that's probably like a year and a half away, I'd say, until like say we'd like move into that.
Let me ask you a quick question on that.
Yeah.
What is the Ellidy Pullin quirk that you're going to put into a house that you're building and designing?
Yeah, I'm going to make it really fruity and like colourful, but like funky, like deep colours and like textures and like sick fucking lounges that are velvety and like real fun and real like, you know, the wine cellar's going to be like there'll be like a staircase with a sick wine cellar under it that'll always be full. I want people to feel welcome to come in and have a drink and just like the fun, welcoming fun house, which is what Chump and I always had in our old house. It was just like open door policy. You know, friends are always welcome. There's bedrooms everywhere. Like our friends would be up from all over Australia coming to stay all the time, and we'd just have cook-ups every night, and it would just be so fun. And I've lost that recently because I'm just not loving like my little living condition. It's actually so good where I am and it's fab. But like I feel out of sorts, I think, because it's not my own, and I just feel it's a weird thing. Like I'm fucking so lucky and privileged, but I'm in a funk.
Yeah, but you've also
it's my
earned
own
that.
thing.
I want to stop you there because I think that it's easy to say, like, yes, it's a blessing to be in a position where you can do those things because not everyone can. But I also think that, you know, it's not a privilege that was handed to you either. Like, you've earned it. And so I think that you should feel really proud of that because, especially as a mum, like, I was just listening to that thinking, holy fuck, that's like a dream situation for a kid. Colourful house.
Yeah, it's going to be like
fun materials. Like, it's going to be a little haven for a bunch of little terrors to run around. And
kids like rumpus room and the games.
Keep the plastic on the lounges for a little bit.
Oh, I know. Hey, no, I'm going to pick like smart, like my old house was like white and beachy and that kind of typical shit. I'm like, nah, I'm going deep, dark colours. Like kids cannot break this joint. Because I just want it to be like, after school, you got like 48 of the fucking kids over and I'm cooking for everyone and just like...
After school care.
And I want to get myself to a place where like I can like be such a more present mum and tap out a bit of like all the stuff I'm running around doing and feeling like I've got to do right now to build the freaking thing, you know? So I want to then, kind of be able to relax a little bit more after that, which sounds stupid because I'm only going to be like 34 or something. And, you know, I'll obviously still be working a lot, but I'm just excited to like, because I'm a single mum and I work full time. I actually work more than full time. Like literally my mum, like I employ her. She looks after my child all the time. And so do my friends' mums and other friends of mine. They're always picking her up and dropping her off and helping where they can because I'm everywhere. And I don't want to do that anymore. Right? Yeah, exactly. And it's busy and it's crazy and she thrives. She absolutely she does love it. She, you know, my friend's probably going to pick her up this Sava with her kid and Minnie will just be absolutely so stoked because she's obsessed with her child and like blah, blah. And like the kids all get along. And it's like amazing. It's real fun for her because she's so adaptable to change and just she can hang out with everyone, adults, kids, and she's amazing. So what it's done for her and I think her growth is fab. But it is going to be so good when I can just like be a bit more present and just be slower with her and just chill a bit and have that routine, like that school mum routine kind of thing. So as much as I don't want to wish the years away because I am so devo that she's getting older, I cannot handle her growing up. Like she's going to be 4 at the end of this year and I'm not handling that. But I am excited for like that like kind of next chapter, that school routine and slowing down kind of thing.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of people say that they want to slow down, right? But I feel a lot of people, in order to slow down, maybe play the wrong card, which is they bring more into their life.
Yeah.
And it gets busier before it gets slower. There's a story I've told 1,000,000 times on the pod, so I'm going to apologise up front for everybody who's listening to this for the 10th time. But I found it fascinating. So the story of the statue of David, when Michelangelo sculpted David, there's a long story to it, but essentially he was given this large piece of stone that was supposed to be carved into something that would hang from the ceiling of a palazzo in Florence. He took this stone away after a certain amount of time. I believe it was months. He comes back and unveils what is the statue of David in all of its glory. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful and it's so meticulously sculpted. And this lady who seen the reveal burst into tears because she's like, I've never seen anything so beautiful. How did you create the David from just a large piece of stone? And Michelangelo said, I always saw David in the stone. I had to remove everything that wasn't him. And I think that like when you think about productivity and effectiveness in life, it's often that we add things to the fold in order to try and make our life better. I think the question is rather like, what can you take away? And I'm trying to learn this. I'm the biggest hypocrite right now saying this story because in my life, like I am so busy all the time.
Yes.
And it's chaotic and it's hectic.
You have a full-time job and a podcast. I don't even understand how you do
Like,
this.
There's a lot happening.
And I made you fly up as well.
That's
like,
all
we
right,
could have done
hey.
this remotely, you poor thing.
But, it's not the same, is it? Because we're
Not
sitting
the
here in
same.
the room, we've got to
No,
meet,
we
we've got to have a
needed to
chat.
meet.
It
This
is
is
fun. It is
Yeah.
fun.
It's
So,
so good.
and it's a pleasure to be able to fly up and do a podcast. So
So
it's
good.
such a joy. And, I think about, like, for you slowing down, what does that actually look like? Is it you removing, busy parts of your life, or is it you just making a choice to do less? Like, what does that look
Yeah,
like?
it's probably just me not needing to do as much work and like fly less, like not having to do like these interstate shoots or jobs each week that I'm booked for, and just being able to say less to like no to a lot more events and things like that.
Can I ask you a question then? What does your dream reality look like from a work perspective?
I guess I'd probably get rid of all that stuff and then really miss it. Hey, a dream work state would probably be, I feel like Chloe and I, with Darling Shine, our podcast, so Chloe's my business partner, could perhaps create more of an umbrella like underneath Darling Shine where we have like other podcasts that we help produce, like not me personally, but like a bit of a production house kind of thing. Well, that's what we talk about doing. And then maybe we'd have a bit of a office space on the Gold Coast. And then I'd do like I'd pick my favorite brands that I already work with that are amazing, that keep me for the long contracts, like the real solid brands that I've worked with for years now. And I'd keep on those. And then I'd kind of just like all the other fluffy stuff, I'd probably just like get rid of a fair bit of.
Would you ever create a brand yourself?
Oh yeah, sorry. And oh my gosh, that's the thing that I'm most excited for as well. That's coming up. I'm bringing out a product with one of my best friends, Laura Enavar. Yeah, I don't know if I should say. Yeah, we're bringing out sunglasses.
Nice.
It's gonna be sick.
Makes
and it's
sense
like,
for you,
it does.
you burly folk.
I'm such an accessories girl. I'm such a hat.
Laura's an all Sydney girl though, isn't she?
Laura's a Sydney girl. We're both from Narrabeen. We've known each other forever. And we're both like, she's a surfer girl. I'm a mum. It's important to wear eyewear. Protect your eyes, obviously, but also like fucking fashion. And like, we love our sunnies. I mean, yeah.
Can you say when you're launching?
Well, it was supposed to be last Christmas, so I'm hoping for I'm hoping for Christmas 2025. We'll see.
You got to hurry it up because I feel like Sophie's like so rogue that she just never has sunnies.
Soph, you'll love our sunnies. We'll give you all of the sunnies. We'll give you both all of them.
Because I keep saying to Soph, like, how are you surviving without sunnies?
Don't you wear them?
Like, no, she's just like some kind of like adapted species of human where she can just get around without sunnies.
My eyes hurt all the time. I need sunnies.
Yeah, I'm certainly like, I'm always sunnies.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm squinting and my big frown mark in the middle of my head. I look like I'm about 65.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like there's a very
gosh.
exciting couple months, couple years ahead of you.
Yeah. I can't believe I forgot about that. There's probably other things that I forgot about. I'm sure I'll write. I'm sure once like my life goes on and stuff, and like who knows, like love, kids, who knows what will happen, but maybe I'll write a second book. Like my ghostwriter, Ali Pascoe, who is amazing, is like, I know we're going to write another book. And like the last few years I was like, no, Ali, that's the story. Like, what are you talking about? And now as like I'm so much more open and excited for like what's around the corner and what's coming and like just like life, and I feel so much hope for my future and Minnie's future. I just see it like happy. Like I'm just so excited. I'm like, fuck, wow, another book, but like more happier book. Like not so sad. Like Chump will be throughout my whole life and like the way that I'll remember him and talk about him forever. But like this one hopefully won't be as bloody griefy and people actually be happier when they're reading it rather than everyone just saying they've read it and just cried the whole time.
Well, I feel really excited to hear you talk about how happy and excited you are for the future, because I think you deserve it. You're so young. You're such a great personality. You got so much energy. You'd be an amazing partner for someone in their life. It looks like you're an amazing friend, an amazing mum. Such a blessing to have you on here. I'm going to make sure that people are linked to all the different places that they can find you. And I'm excited to hopefully be able to continue the conversation and the friendship and maybe connect a little bit easier next time.
Yes, I promise. Now
Honestly, it's like you're on the FBI's most wanted list. Like you're very hard to find. You're very hard to find.
Shut up. Oh my God, you're so funny. I fucking have absolutely loved meeting you and chatting to you. And I am so okay. You've got to come on my podcast, so we're going to do that.
Yes.
And I want to hear more about you and your story. I'm so interested, and I'm so honoured that you got me on. And I'm so sorry it was hard to bloody happen, but now that we're here, I'm like, I love this. This is the best. This is the story of my life. I'm always just like, unless I'm sitting right in front of you and we're together, I'm like, oh, like I'm not good online. I'm not good on the phone. I can't, like it's all too much. But then like in person, I'm like, this is it. This. I love being present with someone. I'm not that present when I'm not with them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, of course, I jokingly talk about how hard it was to connect because you are a mum. You're run off your feet. I feel like you've been in 3 states this week, or at least close to, maybe in the last 2.
Yeah.
And so I feel very lucky that we got you on the ground in Burleigh.
Oh my God, I love it. Thanks so much
My
for
pleasure.
coming up.
My pleasure. Until next time.
You're the best.
That was fun.
That was so good.